Right, so we're back here in the Ads Manager, and I want to show you how to set up a custom audience. So the first one I'm going to get you to set up is one from your email list. So if you're, whatever email list provider you're using, if it's MailChimp or ConvertKit or whatever one you're using, what I want you to do first is go ahead and download all of your subscribers into one spreadsheet. And if you can save it as a .csv, then that's the format that you need. Um, that's the best way to do it, and you can follow along with the instructions. If you use Mailchimp, you can actually do it slightly differently, and you can follow the instructions on screen for Facebook. They've made it really easy for Mailchimp customers. But if you have anything else apart from Mailchimp, go ahead and download your CSV file, and then when you're ready, come back to this video and you can follow along with me. So if we go up to our favorite menu again, hover over all tools, and where you want to go this time is under assets and click on audiences. So if you've saved any audiences as you were going, then you're gonna see them come up here. So these are some of the audiences I might have saved previously, and in here I have a custom audience based on, so this one's obviously all of my website visitors, so that's one I've created previously. So I'm going to start from scratch here now. So you just need to click on create audience and then custom audience. So the first one we're going to do is create one from a customer file, which is the file that you just went and downloaded from your email marketing platform. So click on customer file, choose a file, or copy and paste. So the best way to do it, you can click upload file, but if you have it somewhere on your desktop, it's the handiest if you just click on it and drag it in. It's going to come up there. Now it's automatically going to call it the name of the CSV, and as you can see, this one that I've downloaded is kind of a crazy name, so that's not going to be very helpful for us. So what I want to call it is something along the lines of, I might call it all email subscribers January 2017. Now, it will store the date that you did it, but I just like to make it really obvious which month it was, because obviously in February you're going to have even more email subscribers, and your list is going to be slightly different. So I just like to make it really clear for myself what's going on. So you don't really need to worry about any of these at this point. You just need to make sure that you have your audience in there and that you've put your file into there. So just click next, and you'll see it's the file that I had that I uploaded probably had a whole lot of columns that Facebook doesn't really care about. So it's fine. We don't need the ID and the user number and all of that. So we're just going to not upload those. What we do want to upload is the email address. If you have the surname, so that matches last name, I'm going to tick it to surname, and then same here, first name can match to first name. I wouldn't worry about anything else. It just helps Facebook kind of identify if you have birth dates and things, and you can put them in. But I tend to just, if I have the information, first and last name, and email is the number one important thing. So I'm just going to click on upload and create. Now I'm happy with that. It's going to load there. It's saying 399 rows are uploaded, so that's great. It's saying next step here, you can create a lookalike audience or create an advert. Feel free to play around, but if you just want to follow on with how I do things, then I would just click done at this point. So one thing to note is it's going to do this first. It says not ready updating audience. So you've just given Facebook a whole lot of email addresses, and so it's going to search through all its databases and match those to people that it knows are within its database. So it's going to take a little while for it to load. When it's ready, it's going to say ready and last updated on this date. You can also see that it's going to pull through a size. So you'll see that you would have seen that I uploaded almost 400 lines of data, which is 400 people, which is quite a good size. But not everyone that signs up for your lead magnet or signs up to your email list is going to use the same email address as the one that they log into Facebook with. So if they've used a different email address, Facebook isn't going to be able to track them. It doesn't have information on their email address. So what's going to happen then is that your custom audience is going to look a lot smaller than you think it should. So you might put 400 in and you might get an audience size of maybe 250 or 300 people. It's fine, it's still really usable. The minimum you have to have for to be able to use it for an ad is 20 people. So you're always going to be able to use this custom audience for something. Again, I think I mentioned in module 4 that the smaller the audience is, the quicker you're going to use your budget. Sorry, the slower it will be to use your budget up. So if you've set a budget of $10 a day, but you've only got 50 people in your audience, you're unlikely to spend your whole budget in every day. So just something to be aware of, and you can check back in 5 minutes or so, and this will probably be ready. Sometimes I find if you just use the refresh button, it doesn't really refresh it, but one of the good things to do is just maybe come up to this menu and navigate away to a completely different page and then come back to it, and it often kind of reloads itself then. So just another little tip to be aware of there. So the other one that I mentioned that we're going to create is a custom audience from your website visitors. So once again, you're going to come to create audience. Now this one here, just a reminder, now you should have already got your pixel all sorted on your website, but if you haven't, you won't be able to create this next type of audience. So I find as soon as you're even thinking about maybe doing Facebook advertising, put that pixel on your website. As soon as it's on, it's tracking and it's storing information, and whether you've created an audience or not, it still keeps all that information for you. So it's really, really powerful. So make sure that one of the first things you do when you're even thinking about Facebook ads is to put the pixel on your site first. So once you've done that, click on create audience and then custom audience again. And this time we're going to click on website traffic. So as you can see, it knows what my pixel is called, and I'm going to choose anyone who visits your website. Now, there's different techniques, and depending what you're selling, what you can do, but I tend to do 180 days here. So the maximum you can do is 180, and I tend to think that in this kind of space, with what we're, with selling kind of online courses and that kind of thing, I think if anyone's been on your website in the past 6 months, then they could still be interested, so it's worth putting something in front of them. But if you're selling something really quick moving, then probably 180 days is too soon, too long, sorry. So I'll just leave that up to you. Again, it's about knowing your ideal client and how they react and all that kind of thing. So leave include past website traffic ticked, because that means, like I said, as soon as you get your pixel up, it's starting to collect data. So it means that even if I'm only setting up my custom audience today, it's still going to give me data from yesterday, from the day before, from however many days since I put my pixel up. So hopefully that makes sense. Then you just need to call it something. So I'm going to call this, instead of all website visitors, I'm going to call it all VA website visitors, because I might have another website, and I want to make it really clear which website this is. So you might have a tutoring business website, and you might have, an online tutoring business website, and then you might have more of a bricks and mortar tutoring website, and that's absolutely fine. Your pixel will sit on both of those, but you just need to make sure that you can tell which audience is which when you create it. I always just add into the end of the audience how many days I've set it to. So if you've only put 30 up in this box here, then put 30 here. Again, just so that you can come back later on, you don't have to rely on your own memory for what the heck is each of these audiences. So again, just click create audience. Thank you for creating a custom audience. Your audience is ready. Click OK. So for now, it's saying my audience is too small. Sometimes it kind of does this straight away because it hasn't loaded. So even if it says too small, still check back. But it could just be that not enough people have visited my website. Now remember that I said you have to have at least 20 people. So if you're just starting out, then you might not have had 20 different people that have visited your website. And also the other thing to note is that each of those people, in order to track it, it's using cookies and all these other fancy things that go on in the background. But if that person isn't logged into Facebook at the time, then Facebook can't track it because it doesn't know which email address to assign to that person that visited that pixel. So there's a lot of things that come into play, but don't panic if your audience is too small. Check back occasionally. If you're doing a lot of work to push visitors to your website, then it will grow. And I know that there's a section on marketing in Deanie's training, so just make sure you go through and you follow all the steps that you need to. You can even use Facebook ads to build up the traffic to your website, and eventually you'll get to a point where you might be able to start using this as a custom audience, and you might be able to start selling or offering promotions to people who have visited your website previously. So an example of how people use this is, you might have even noticed yourself that you go onto a website, it might be a website for I don't know, for shoes you really like. And then that next day, and probably for about a week after, all you see coming up on your Facebook are ads for that shoe store that you went and visited. That's because they're retargeting you. You've become a warm audience for them, and they really want you to buy. So that's what they're doing, is they're tracking you when you hit their website, and then they're able to keep sending different ads to you over the next week. So that's kind of an example of how you might use your website visitors audience. So that's how you set them up. It's pretty easy once you know where to go. If you have any issues, just let me know. And other than that, we'll jump back and I'll give you your tasks for this module.